No, right, okay, so cells, basics and introduction. Alright, so I'm going to begin by just drawing the basic 2 cells that you need to be aware of. Alright, so we have got the cell membrane that I'm drawing of both an animal and a plant cell. Alright, both cells have a cell membrane, okay? However, I'm then going to draw a second structure around the outside of a plant cell, which isn't a cell membrane, but a cell wall. The function of the cell wall is for protection and to maintain its shape. I'm going to go back to what they've both got again. A nucleus. Alright. Now the function of the nucleus is it contains the genetic information, and it is where the instructions are for the growth of the cell. Alright, it's where the DNA is kept, it's where the genetic information is kept. Alright. In the olden days, it's what controls the cell. Let's move past that, alright? It's where the genetic information is stored. Okay? We have, then I'm going to try to stick to things that they've all got. They all have, and I'm going to try to draw this, although you may not find it the most best thing in the world. They all have this structure here, which I'm going to call a mitochondria. I have, yeah. A mitochondria. Alright? Mitochondria. The mitochondria, anyone know? Excellent. The mitochondria is where respiration takes place. Okay? I'm just going to put a little R there for respiration. And respiration produces, I'm going to write an E there, what's that? Respiration produces energy. Okay? Now, I really should have said produce, because it's factually correct. It releases energy. Okay? So, mitochondria in both release energy through respiration. Okay with that so far? Yeah. Alright. And then they both have, and this is where we get a little bit more technical and we get into a higher level of information. They both have these little dotty things that I'm going to call ribosomes. Does anyone know what ribosomes do? No. Ribosomes make proteins. Alright? So we've got all those structures in all of them, and I've done this a bit of a silly way around, but I'm now going to go to things that only a plant cell's got. Because it's got a cell wall, and it's also got these green things. Anyone know? These are chloroplast. Anyone know what the function of a chloroplast is? Begins with a P. Photosynthesis. Wonderful. And I hope you realise that animal cells don't photosynthesize. So they don't have chloroplast. Okay? And finally, we're running out of room for it, but a plant cell has a vacuole. And again, that is for structure. Alright? The typical exam question is to label and talk about the difference between plant and animal cell. Are we all right there so far? Mm-hmm. Okay. But if you were just made of one type of animal cell, well, you wouldn't look like you do, right? But you clearly have hair and eyes and mouths and ears and nose and toes and testicles and all the rest of it, all right? Because not all your cells are the same, all right? Some of your cells, in fact, masses of your cells, actually what we call differentiate. They become different types of cells. And this is what we call specialised cells. So I'm going to bring this round here to specialised cells. Specialised cells have something different about their structure that makes them better adapted for the role they carry out. Alright? I'm going to do animal on this side and plant up on this side so you can kind of remember, but that's typically what you get. You get standard animal cells that are different, therefore specialised, and plant cells that are different, therefore specialised. Number one, a typical, is the sperm. Alright? Now the sperm cell is specialised in a number of ways. All right, and I want us to be aware of this. Okay, first of all, now, do we say it has a tail? Let's say it has a tail. All right, and this is basic now, we're going to build up. And the tail is for movements. Okay, but I want to now get more detailed. And I want you to realise that inside the mitochondria, so inside the sperm cell, are these mitochondria. Why do you think they contain many mitochondria?
For respiration.
I agree, for respiration. What do they need respiration for?
Energy.
They need energy, I agree with that, and that energy is required for what? Movement. Wonderful. All right, and I've put there R-E-M, which I hope you can kind of work out, all right? That is not the same as that cell there. It's an animal cell that's become slightly different in its structure to make it better adapted at its role. Because don't forget, its role is to move or swim to the egg. Okay? Yes, Jed? Excellent question. Didn't draw it on. It's still got a nucleus. All right? But onto that one, I'd like to go a step further and talk about, and I'm going to switch colours. Another classic exam question is about this cell here. Please ignore the size because that's not the relevant size. Okay? This is and I'm going to use black so we can't see it, a red blood cell. Can you tell me its function first? Carries, can I use the word transport oxygen? Better. That transports oxygen. What features of this make it good at that job, that role? Yes? Now, beautiful. This shape, right, is called a biconcave disc, but it almost looks like a donut. You know, the ones with a hole in the middle? Yeah. Now, that shape gives it a bigger surface area than a normal circular cell. All right? So, it has a bigger surface area due to its shape. Why is that an advantage? It helps with a certain process. Oxygen's got to come into the cell and leave it. What's the process by which it moves in and out of the cell? Begins with a D. Good. All right? It's got a bigger surface area, and this helps with diffusion. It means diffusion can happen at a faster rate. There's one more thing. Have you seen me draw a nucleus in this cell yet? This cell doesn't have a nucleus. Now that's pretty fantastic, but that's important for one reason only. Any ideas why having no nucleus is a good thing? Good. More room, but I want you to get a better mark. More room for what? So, there's more room. I'm going to try to be a bit more technical here. There's more room, which means it can carry more oxygen. One new word. There's a chemical that almost holds on to that oxygen. And that's actually what you can fit in more. And that chemical is called hemoglobin. So in essence, by not having a nucleus, I'm trying to draw these as H's, you can fit more hemoglobin in, which will hold the oxygen. Is that all right? Got that? Okay, right. Plant cells. The classic two plant cells that we need to do. And yeah. At the top of a leaf, you find these plant cells, and they are specialised because they have a lot more what am I trying to draw? Badly. chloroplasts. These are, and we'll call these are palisade cells. You find them in the top of the leaf, and their job is to absorb light energy. They are at the top of the leaf to help to absorb more light, but the main concept is they are chock full of chloroplast. To do what? To absorb more light for photosynthesis. I will do the final plant cell, almost the other end of the plant. If this is at the top in the leaf, what are we calling this cell? The root hair cell. What's its function? Its function is the uptake of minerals and water. This is the adaptation. That is almost the hair in the root hair cell. And this is very much like this. This is beneficial because it increases surface area, which means there will be more diffusion. Now what that means is, if there are particles in the soil, let's say nitrates, that need to get into the root hair, if it wasn't for this structure here, they would only be able to get in through these gaps in the cell. But because there is extra surface area, you have more places where the minerals can absorb. All right, do we get that?
Yeah.
Okay.